Hey everyone, Brayden here coming to you with a review video where we're going to be talking all about EPCOT Forever, the new interim fireworks show that premiered in EPCOT last week. I was there to see the premiere, and we actually have a video of that first show up in some incredible 4K low light night mode quality, so throw that up on a TV. I don't feel like you're really there, so be sure to check that out. You can even see the moon from the sun bouncing off of it in the background. It is insane. It is insane footage. It looks absolutely incredible. The premiere night was a great moment to share. Lots of EPCOT fans in attendance. One of the greatest things about being in Orlando now and making all these videos for you guys is I can actually see in real time what you guys want to see from me, because I came back to EPCOT the next day on October 2nd to get more footage, and I was probably asked 60 times what I thought of EPCOT Forever from fans, and it's always great meeting you guys in the parks and seeing what you guys want from me, because it helps me make better content for you guys. So EPCOT Forever, it's review time. Oh boy. Something I think a lot of honest reviewers don't preface with when they're going into a review is what they were expecting going into watching the new show. You know, oftentimes if you expect too much, you'll be disappointed, and if you expect very little, you'll be pleasantly surprised. For example, the last IllumiNations show on October 30th, some fans loved it, others did not. And the ones who didn't expected there to be like a special tag on the end, like the Peace on Earth tag, the New Year's Eve tag, one of those, they expected something like that, and there wasn't anything like that. It was just a normal show for the final IllumiNations. Now, it would have been great if we had that. I hoped there would be that, but I wasn't expecting it. You see, so it's not so much about how much you know the EPCOT source material or how much intellectual property you think should be in EPCOT Spectaculars. You could have the exact same opinions as someone else about the same thing, and those expectations going in would lead to two very different reactions. So my expectations going into EPCOT Forever, I think they were pretty spot on. You know, the moment a lot of EPCOT fans heavily dislike in this show is the end, where the music is A Whole New World from Aladdin. I told you guys that would be the cap off of the show in my preview video of the show a few weeks ago. Now, I was still a little disappointed there, because you can see I expected it to be a whole bunch of EPCOT cues going in with A Whole New World, and we go on, the melody is actually in that sequence right near the end. If you listen very, very closely, they play the notes. But doing a whole show honoring those classic EPCOT themes and then capping it off with Aladdin music did give the show, as many fans have told me, a feeling of being a bit like we were mourning the unique EPCOT and we were moving into this brave new world of intellectual properties, that sort of feel. Personally, I think they put A Whole New World in there because it works with the Countries of the World showcase. The show is playing alongside, you know, they light up and they sparkle as part of the show, and it references the dramatic changes underway in EPCOT, and yes, it is also an intellectual property. So if you think of it in that way, I think you can see where the show is coming from and why it's in there. Off the top, I'd like to say the highlights of the show were the kites. The kites were awesome. The fire kites are the absolute best. The fireworks are great, especially for a show that's designed to only last 8 months. You know, Disney could have really gone bare bones with the show. They did not. There's some pretty cool fireworks in particular that people were leaving and talking about, like they were actually remembering them, and they left an impression long after the show was over when I was talking to people afterwards, like the perimeter fireworks that go out throughout the show from those mini barges that form this halo effect around the entire lagoon. Those were really cool. The springy fireworks during the Imagination segment are really fun. During the finale, the fireworks are spectacular. The crackle fireworks at the end are almost too loud, I would say. During the Whole New World part, they've got these fireworks that burst like normal big fireworks, but then they do these little sparkle effects at the end, and they just look beautiful. Those are my personal favorites as far as the visuals went, of course, along with the fire kites, which were just out of this world. I'd like to see Disney launch 100 of those in succession over maybe like 10 seconds on New Year's Eve. That'd be an incredible sight, but I suspect those are the priciest of the fireworks in the show because they are so advanced. Highlights of the score, the music really hits hard at the kite sequences. The best part of the score and the visuals is during the fire kite sequence. The Celebrate the Future hand-in-hand thing, it is so good. Also a top contender has to be the Tapestry of Nations portion, which got a huge applause from the audience. It was the highlight of the show. The premiere night, as far as the crowd reaction went, everyone really enjoyed that moment because it sort of tied in with what we had with IllumiNations. So I think everyone really loved that. Future World is Born Today is also great. Another awesome moment is the other kite sequence. So one earlier in the show with Soarin' and Magic Journeys. It's pretty incredible how well those two work together in the music. There's definitely some awesome sound there, not to mention the visuals. I love them putting in the 1982 EPCOT theme, as well as the Legacy EPCOT entrance atmosphere music at the beginning of the show. It really set the tone well. The intro was a little jarring night one because it used the beam fireworks that IllumiNations starts with, but instead of it leading to that big bang, you know, when the beam goes up, it's like one beam goes up and then another, and then another, and then another. And you feel like you're out of breath because it's like there's no resolution to it. You know, there's no big bang happening, and all these little sparks keep going up, and you have Walt talking. I think the first night people were just confused, like, was that Walt? I didn't really understand what was going on, but I think that was just a victim of it playing, you know, the night after the last IllumiNations. Because I've gone back and watched it more times, and I actually really enjoy the intro now that I understand it. So I think that's something that is a little bit better on a rewatch, where it's not, where IllumiNations isn't as fresh in your mind, and you're starting to get used to EPCOT Forever. The intro definitely goes better like that. So you're probably like, okay, Brayden, we get it. You liked a lot of parts of this show, but what about the show as a whole? And what didn't work? And I'd say going into it, your expectations of EPCOT Forever should be set at, it's a fun show. I don't think the show is cohesive, since the message variates from celebrating the unique vision of EPCOT and Walt quotes, while having a new world playing in there, which really rubbed me the wrong way. The part that really bothered me, unfortunately, was the very end. You know, we actually got Walt, and I never thought I'd see the day where I actually didn't like Walt being acknowledged in a Disney show. I've always loved Walt in these shows. I think the old Celebrate the Magic projection show on the Castle from the Magic Kingdom, my favorite projection show Disney has ever had, where Walt says it was all started by the mouse, and it's just like goosebumps every time. It's just perfect. It's like the big highlight of that show. But here they have Walt talking about EPCOT and it being unique, and it's right in the middle of this Aladdin music sequence, and I just did not get the chills. I felt nothing. I know what Walt was saying in that quote and what he meant, and it had absolutely nothing to do with Aladdin, and it just felt wrong as a result of that. You know, and speaking of vocals, the kids that narrate the show, they did not work. Why is a kid saying Soar in a Tower? Why not have Patrick from Soarin'? You know, why are a bunch of kids saying Dreamfinder and Figment's lines instead of Dreamfinder and Figment? Those are the sort of things in the show where I wasn't really entirely sure what they were thinking. So let me know what you guys think about those things. Now, I'm not a fan of being negative and criticizing things of which I have no solution for. You guys know I love Disney, I love EPCOT, and I want nothing more for this park, this resort, and these shows to be the best that they can possibly be. So I'd like to take my criticism to more of a constructive angle. Like, if I was in charge, here's what I would have done. Like, if Disney said, hey Brayden, listen to this. This is what we're working on. Firstly, I think the show should have ended with the new EPCOT content. This park is going in a new direction. I think their idea there was actually correct. But don't do a whole new world. That did not work. I think we should have had that awesome new EPCOT anthem performed at the D23 Expo as the finale to the show with the Walt quote in there. I even did a little mock-up of how that would have looked and how it would have sounded with the pyro and everything. You can find on Twitter at MickeyViews. Also played at the end of this video, so you can check it out. I'm always posting cool stuff over there on Twitter, so make sure to check that out. But I can tell you that new EPCOT anthem song they played at the D23 Expo was not an option for the show, because EPCOT Forever was locked in well before the entertainment folks even knew that anthem existed. Perhaps the best route would have been just my original expectations to start, which is just start with the EPCOT stuff, end with the EPCOT stuff. No new EPCOT tunes, no IP necessary. Just do a bunch of mashups of awesome original EPCOT stuff at the end. Like, we don't even need the new stuff at all. I'm sure the executives are the ones that push for a whole new world, and that's why it's in there. And that's why we got it. Like, I don't see really too many other reasons as to why it would have ended up in the show. Also, make the show with the original attraction sounds. You know, the show is attempting to be new and modern with making new versions of the original EPCOT themes, but the show is trying to appeal to the guests who remember and recognize those themes. Those guests don't want modern takes of those originals. They want the nostalgia. Because the guests who don't recognize those themes to begin with, they're not going to care either way, because they don't even know what those themes are. You get what I mean? So it's like the people that the show was appealing to with the recognizable retro EPCOT themes, they modernize those themes. So who was that for, right? Because the people you're modernizing it for don't know those themes to begin with. They don't know those themes, so they're not going to recognize them. So why not just use the original ones? Because people who are there for a nostalgia trip, who are there to enjoy the show. So the show is definitely lacking in synths. I think that's the thing, that awesome 80s sound that is very much the core of nostalgia today. So all in all, the soundtrack, I thought it was great overall. It's just the general modern sound that I probably wouldn't have done. Replace a whole new world with the new EPCOT anthem, or perhaps more classic EPCOT themes in a mashup format. I might have expanded the Horizons section a little longer. The big criticism with the show, guests have been telling me, and I 100% agree with, is the vocals. The adult vocals are awesome. The new Horizons vocalist, she did an awesome new modern rendition of that part. That was an example where making the EPCOT music new again and modern actually worked. The new adult vocals over some of that original music. But most of the vocals in the show are kids. And of course, kids are literally the future, but adults are the ones who guide the future at a philosophical level, right? Like, they obviously put them in the show because they're like, oh, this is about the future of EPCOT, let's put in kids. But the thing is, Adults are the ones who guide the future. Seniors are the ones who have the wisdom to make the future that they pass on to the younger generation. A great example, Disney's most futuristic attraction, Horizons, was narrated by a grandma and grandpa. Why? Because they're the ones with the wisdom to pass to the next generation for them to build the future. The kids are literally the future, but they don't know anything about the future or even anything about the past that you would need to know in order to build or guide that future when they're still in that adolescent state. And just going on beyond the philosophical aspect I'm going here, which I think is why they chose kids for this show, the other thing is, the reason people are in EPCOT right now, because there's so much construction going on in Future World, most of the people who are in EPCOT right now are there to eat and drink around the World Showcase. And the last thing that people want to hear at 10 p.m. at night on a Saturday, those adults have been drinking, the last thing they want to hear is kids. I'm just being honest. As someone who's called an annoying kid all the time online, you know, I'm just being honest. I just think that's the case. So just from the practical aspect and the philosophical aspect, I think that kids were amiss with this show. The thing is, in the pre-show and post-show, the little girl who did the narration, I thought she did a pretty good job, but I'm just being realistic. I just think in general, it was not the right direction to go from both a philosophical and a practical level. I think that was an interesting choice I probably wouldn't have done myself. There's something about that deep voice that just resonates at a deeper level with most people when it comes to telling you the meaning of something. Like, you're probably gonna take James Earl Jones more seriously than a little kid, is what I'm saying, right? It just resonates at a deeper level, which makes you care about something, which is, no matter what kind of show it is, EPCOT, IP, movies, television, you need to give a clear message and feeling people care about to get them to consume more of your product. And I think that is where EPCOT Forever falters with the Aladdin ending, which is just antithetical to what the rest of the show is about in its message. And I really wish the executives hadn't forced that in, because it definitely cannot be helping guest satisfaction-wise. So those are my thoughts on the show. The post-show, I am not a fan of at all. It's like licensed music. It is very bizarre. It does not sound nearly as good as IllumiNations. The post-show for IllumiNations was with Tapestry Nations, which funny enough got like the biggest applause from the audience during EPCOT Forever itself. So if Disney were to make any changes, which I don't think they're going to touch the show itself, you know, it's fun. It's not going to be around that long. It's a short-term thing and it's memorable and enjoyable, but I think they could bring back the IllumiNations post-show. I really hope they do, because that music is just a great way to cap off the night, or better yet, just play some archival attraction audio from the original EPCOT attractions this show is honoring after the show. That's what they should have done. If we can dream it, then we can do it. That would be the perfect serene exit atmosphere for exiting the park. Like, that would just be beautiful after park close to have that original Horizons music. I just think that'd be amazing. Be sure to try to make it out and see it before it goes away, because you have to see this show just for the kites and the highlights of the score, the fire kites section especially, not to mention the fireworks. It is a lot of fun. Oh, and something I haven't mentioned, the new lighting is awesome. The light beams that actually shine through in different colors through the smoke, those are super cool. So in summary, definitely check out EPCOT Forever. You'll enjoy the show. It's no IllumiNations, but it's something that you'll be able to say that you did and you enjoyed and really reminisce hearing all those original EPCOT songs. Personally, I'm just really thankful Disney gave us the show at all. Many months before we broke the news of EPCOT Forever and HarmonioUS, last year we broke the news of a possible water show / parade coming to the World Showcase Lagoon. That was the temporary show plan at one point. So we came a long way from a water parade show to getting a full-on spectacular in between IllumiNations and the permanent replacement Disney's working on, HarmonioUS. So definitely something to be thankful about there, that we actually got a fireworks show, and given the quality that we ended up getting, I definitely think it is a pretty enjoyable show. So definitely something to be thankful here and enjoy with EPCOT Forever. Be sure to subscribe with those notifications on, because we've got a lot of news content coming your way here. There's a lot happening in Walt Disney World, from the new Mickey D's Magic Studio, now located in Orlando, Florida. This is Brayden. Have a magical day.
At Top Eagle, that will always be in a state of becoming. It will never cease to be a